Right, what we're going to do here today is have a look at how to deal with the problem of a blocked nozzle, i.e. this device on the Flashforge Adventurer 3. If you've done a filament change or something has happened and you now have got a blockage, it won't feed. So what we're going to start off by doing is, let's pretend that you've just fed some filament in. I keep mine off to the side here, and the machine now jammed. Okay, what we're going to do is, with the machine off obviously, is we're going to snip off the filament like that, just using some side cutters. Okay, now this end is free, and that's important, and you've got a bit sticking out, because what you're going to want to do is, as you pull the nozzle down, you want to push through the feeder. Okay, now let me show you what's going on inside. Let me just move the camera. Like so. Okay, let's get that set up like that so you can see. Okay. Alrighty. What you want to do is take your left hand, and get it in shot. Now the Bowden tube can be hard to be removed from the top. Okay. So what we're wanting to do is avoid removing the Bowden tube to deal with this problem. So on the front here, there's these two little black knobs, okay? They move like that. So what you do is squeeze them together and pull down on the nozzle, okay? And the nozzle is now moved downwards, alright? It's now loose, but now it's hanging from the filament, alright? So what you want to do is just gently pull down on it, and with your right hand, feed the filament through, and just pull it through like that. Okay, and you end up with that in your hand. Alright, okay, let's move to the bench. So what I'm going to do is, I'm doing this all in one cut. So I'm going to put my laptop away that I had on the bench. Let's move the camera over to the bench, like so. Okay, where's our nozzle? There we are. Right, so now let me show you the tools we're going to use as well. We got this, which is a needle for the nozzle, and then we've got some of those, which is rods for forcing material through if need be. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, the microphone back to my face. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, I've got one of these resistor kits. So what I'm going to do, open it, and let's look for some 0 ohm resistors, because I know they're in here. Zero ohm. Okay, here we go, 0 ohm resistors, because you're going to need them to connect your 12 volts to the heater so you can warm it up. And you can deal with this all on your table comfortably and safely. So what I'm going to do, fill with a plastic bag. Just move that aside for now. Right, need our side cutters. and a clip 2 off. Right, this is what we're going to use to make our connection to the heater. Okay, now on the heater it looks like this. This is my spare. This is the original that came with the machine. Alright, zoom you in a little bit more again. So there's 4 holes on top. So you can use a 12 volt battery, or you can use a 12 volt power supply. We're going to use a power supply. So I'm going to push that in. If we can, we might need to use a long nose plier. Not to worry, we have a long nose plier. Try that again. So I'm just gonna nope. No, that doesn't want to work, they're too soft. But we have a backup plan. And that's what I used yesterday. Let's set those aside. We've got these little solidus breadboard pins. Okay. So what we're going to do, push them in there like that. They're fairly hard, so they go in nicely. Okay, that's them fitted. That side is the thermistor, and the other 2 holes, that is a value of about 90 kilo ohms. The heater on the other side is a value of about 20 ohms. So let's get rid of the spare nozzle. Bring in this nozzle. And push in our pins. Don't use anything bigger because you'll spread the fingers inside the connector. Okay, now we take clip leads and we connect them. Let's put these handfuls aside to our heater. Okay. Make sure the power supply is turned all the way down and turn it up to 12 volts. There it is over there. 12 volts, 320 milliamps. Okay. Right. So now it's busy warming up. It's drawing current and is warming up. So what I'm going to do at this stage is over here, I'm going to cut off this bit of filament. So let's just zoom out a bit. So now we just got this bit of filament in the heater. So it is busy warming up at the moment. It's already very hot to touch at the end. So while you're doing this, keep your fingers away from the hot end because you don't want blisters. Okay, you rest your hand on there, you can feel it warming up. And what is going to happen is it's already softened. Okay, like so. What you can see is that's what's come out. Now there's more of that inside that tube. Now what often happens is when the fresh filament goes in to the tube down there, that bit of filament which has sort of been pulled gets in the way, it reduces the diameter, so this then jams. Okay, and your filament doesn't want to go in. Okay, right. Putting some more light down this way. So now it's warming up. Now what you can do, now looking at the end of this nozzle, they generally don't block up. That's hardly ever a problem. So what we're going to do is focus down there. I'm going to hold the nozzle down, and I've got this end, and I'm just going to push with this rod, okay, like so, and the filament has come out. Alright, this is a 2mm, well 1.9mm thick rod. Okay, now you can use a 1.9mm drill bit or this piece of copper rod, which I've got. No, that doesn't fit. It's got to be squared off, and it's got to be round, and I think this is oval. So you need something that's perfectly round to go in there. No more than 1.9mm, or it won't fit. Okay. And that's now good. And you can now check that filament flows through this. So what you do is you take a piece of filament and you just push like so. Okay, that's starting to get hot over there, so I'll hold it at the back. Okay. So by pushing filament through like that, you know that you're good. There's no obstruction and the extrusion is going to work. So push that last little bit out, like that. And that's what comes out, like so. Now at this stage, the nozzle is pretty much at operating temperature, but the 12 volts, you're not at risk of this thing overheating and exceeding the temperature range of the heater. Okay, but don't go over 12 volts. Stick to 12 volts and you're good. You're not going to overheat this heater. It's just going to get to just the right temperature to perform this cleaning operation. Okay, so now we're happy that the nozzle is clean. Now if there is a problem with the orifice in the end, what you can do is take one of these little needles, 0.4mm needle, and just gently check that it slides in and out. Okay, don't go forcing it in, don't go sort of filing away at your nozzle and so on, because then you'll have problems. You'll permanently damage your nozzle. So we're happy that that nozzle's okay. So I'm going to turn the power supply down and off, and we're going to pull these two test probes out. Okay, now we've got to put this back in the printer and get some filament fed into it. So let's go back to the printer. So let's move you guys over to the printer. So show you my mess on the ground. Okay, there we go. Printer's still off at this stage. Now you want to reinstall this nozzle. So with the connector facing the back, you're going to want to find the hole, okay, and push up. Just push up. This nozzle's still a bit hot. And then check that those buttons on the side spring out again when the nozzle is in. Okay, so that's the nozzle fitted. It should be tight in there, it shouldn't rock or move at all. It should be solid in there, then you know it's in. Now we can go fire up the machine and we can feed some filament in. So what I need to do is from my filament, what I do is I hold it in the extruder. So over on the screen, you can't really see there. And put you back over there, it's okay. You select filament, load. And it homes itself and it's heating the extruder. That's already up to 160 degrees C. The nozzle was hot. So now you know that it's properly plugged in. The machine is happy with the connection to the extruder. And in a moment it will be hot and the filament will feed through. So this avoids fiddling around with the Bowden tube at the top. Now you may have had a breakage of your filament at the nozzle itself. There it goes. And my roller filament falls over. That's okay. The filament might have been broken up at the top here or jammed there when you removed the nozzle, in which case the nozzle would have come out without bringing the filament with. And in that case you can pull the filament the other way back through the feeder and the Bowden tube when you remove the nozzle. So that's a story there. So filament is going. Yep. So we should shortly have it coming out. Now it's a good idea to keep your filament dust free, because dust build-up here in the Bowden tube can work its way into the nozzle and you could end up with problems there as a result of blockages there from lint and dust as a result of dirty filament. So there you go, there we have filament coming out, and I can stop it and pull that off, and that's it. We have a working extruder. So to recap, now let's go back to the bench. Over here okay, that filament was sticking to my hand, still is. Look at this, okay, facing you like that. The two left hand pins are your heater pins, okay? So that is where you're going to want to go in with some small pins like that, or some needles. Let's get a caliper and I'll measure it for you. Let's turn the machine off so we don't have to listen to that fan because it's annoying. So let's get some calipers here. So that it's quite big, so that's 0.7, so that's 7/10 of a millimeter. So a 0.5 millimeter sewing needle, something like that, that would also work. Don't exceed 0.7, that's already starting to get quite tight. And you're wanting something sort of fairly rigid. It is a good idea if you have some of these. And if you don't have one of these, the shank of a drill bit, 1.9 millimeters, 1.8 millimeters, for forcing the material through the extruder will work quite nicely for you. 2 millimeters won't fit, that's too big. So 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 millimeter draw shank for pushing the material through. And if you do get it wrong with these connections, there's nothing that can go wrong. That on the other side is 90k. Putting voltage on there can't harm the temperature sensor. And don't exceed the 12 volts for heating it. And don't touch that bit while it's hot. Yeah, see, up at 20 minutes now with this video, so I think it's time to call it. I hope this helps somebody who's dealing with a jammed extruded clogged nozzle type situation. It's easier to just remove it from the machine and heat it up and deal with it, because that Bowden tube with that sharp white connector on top is a real menace to get out. I've battled with it before, and one has to suckle inside the machine. It's cramped inside there, it's difficult to work in there, it is not ideal. Remove the nozzle, work on it on a bench. Much better. And I think that's going to wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of a public service announcement. Have an awesome day further and take care. See you next time. Cheers.